Have you ever had to open your home to someone new, especially later in life? Maybe a step-parent, an in-law, or even a close friend moving in. It's not always a walk in the park, is it? There's that mix of excitement and worry, wondering how your routines, your space, your life might change. Well, that's exactly where I found myself when my stepmother, Margaret, moved into our home. I thought I had her figured out. I'd met her a few times, and she seemed nice enough. But after just 1 month of living together, I uncovered some truths about her life that left me speechless, not just about her, but about what it means to really know someone. Today, I'm going to share that story with you. It's a journey that might hit home for many of you, especially if you've ever navigated new family dynamics in your later years. Whether it's blending families, welcoming a new person into your home, or just trying to understand someone better, this story is about seeing people for who they truly are, beyond first impressions. Why does this matter? Because as we get older, our families evolve. Maybe your kids are bringing new spouses into the fold, or you're sharing space with someone new. It's easy to make snap judgments or hold on to stereotypes like that old fairy tale idea of the wicked stepmother. But what I learned from Margaret showed me that everyone carries a story, and sometimes those stories can change how we see the world. This isn't just my story. It's a reminder that patience and an open heart can lead to unexpected connections, especially when you're over 60 and life feels like it's already set in stone. In this video series, I'll walk you through what happened when Margaret moved in. From the awkward first days to the moments that made me see her differently, all the way to the shocking truth I discovered about her life. You'll hear about the little gestures that broke down walls, the conversations that built bridges, and how 1 month changed my perspective on family, empathy, and understanding. By the end, I hope you'll feel inspired to look a little deeper at the people in your own life. It all started on a chilly autumn afternoon when my father dropped the news. "Margaret's moving in with us," he said, as if he were talking about picking up groceries. I was 58, living in the house I'd grown up in, a place filled with memories of my late mother. Now, I was about to share it with someone I barely knew. Margaret had been married to my dad for 2 years, but they'd kept separate homes until now. I'd met her at family dinners, where she was always polite, quiet, with a warm smile that seemed genuine. But living together? That was a whole different ballgame. That meant sharing the kitchen, the living room, maybe even the way we celebrated holidays. I'll be honest, I was nervous. What if she wanted to rearrange everything? What if she didn't like my cooking or the way I kept the house? And if I'm being completely transparent, there was a tiny part of me that couldn't shake that old stereotype of the stepmother who swoops in and turns everything upside down. I told myself to be fair, to give her a chance, but deep down, I was bracing for tension. When moving day came, I helped carry her suitcases to the guest room. She thanked me over and over, her voice soft and a bit shaky. "I hope I'm not in the way," she said, clutching a small photo frame. I smiled and said it was no trouble, but inside, I was thinking, let's just get through this. The first few days were like a polite dance. We tiptoed around each other, trying not to step on toes. I noticed she was meticulous almost to a fault. She'd fluff pillows that were already fluffed, wipe down counters that were already sparkling. It got under my skin a little, but I held my tongue, not wanting to start off on the wrong foot. Then, about a week in, something shifted. I came home late one evening, bone-tired from a long day at work and starving. The house was dark, and I figured everyone was asleep. But when I flicked on the kitchen light, there was a plate on the table, covered with foil. I lifted it to find a warm slice of chicken pot pie, golden and fragrant. Next to it was a note in neat handwriting. "In case you're hungry when you get home, Margaret." I stood there, holding that note, and felt a lump in my throat. No one had done something like that for me since my mom was alive. It was such a small thing, but it hit me hard. I sat down, ate that delicious pie, and for the first time, I saw Margaret not as an outsider, but as someone who cared. That moment made me want to know her better. The next morning, I joined her for breakfast, something I hadn't done yet. We sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, and I asked about her day. She lit up, telling me she'd been to the local library, where she volunteered to read stories to kids. Their faces just glow when they hear a good tale, she said, her eyes sparkling. I was caught off guard. I had no idea she was out there doing that. It was a glimpse into a side of her I hadn't seen, and it made me curious. A few days later, when my dad was out, Margaret and I ended up alone in the house. After a moment of awkward silence, she suggested we watch a movie. We picked an old black and white classic, settled on the couch with a bowl of popcorn, and laughed at the same scenes. It felt so natural, like we'd been friends for years. That evening, I realized how much I'd misjudged her. As the days went on, I started noticing more. There were photos on her dresser of people I didn't know, a diary she wrote in every night. Sometimes, I'd catch a fleeting sadness in her eyes, like she was carrying something heavy. I wondered about her life before she became my stepmother, what she'd been through, what shaped her into the person she was. One evening, as we washed dishes together, I took a chance. "Margaret," I said, "I don't know much about your life before you met Dad. Would you share a bit about it?" She paused, then smiled softly. "Of course, dear. There's a lot to tell." What she shared next opened my eyes to a story I never could have imagined. A story of strength, heartbreak, and hope that changed everything I thought I knew about her. But that's a story for the next part. For now, let me leave you with this. Sometimes, the people we think we know have depths we haven't explored. Getting to know Margaret has been one of the most rewarding parts of my life, and I hope this story inspires you to look a little closer at the people in yours. Stick with me, because the best is yet to come. Before we continue, I'd truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart if you could take a moment to like this video and leave a comment if you find it helpful. Your support means the world to me and helps me create more content like this. As we sat in the living room the next day, sunlight streaming through the windows, I couldn't shake the anticipation of learning more about Margaret's life. Over cups of steaming tea, she began to share her story, her voice carrying a quiet strength that drew me in. "You know," she said, setting her cup down with care, "I wasn't always the person you see now. There was a time when life felt like a storm I couldn't escape." I leaned forward, curious. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath, her eyes distant. "I was married before, for 20 years. It wasn't a happy marriage. My first husband was unkind to me, and to our 2 children. There were days when I felt like I was holding everything together with nothing but sheer will." My heart sank. I hadn't expected this. "Margaret, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." She offered a small, reassuring smile. "It's all right. It's behind me now. But those years shaped me. I had to be strong for my kids, to shield them as best I could. I learned to hide my pain, to keep going even when I wanted to give up. When he left, I thought I'd never trust anyone again." I sat there, stunned. This woman I judged so quickly had carried such a heavy burden. "What did you do after he left?" I asked softly. "I poured everything into my children," she said, her voice warming. "I worked long hours, took any job I could to keep a roof over our heads. It wasn't easy, but we made it through. Years later, I met your father. His kindness was like a light after a long, dark night. It took time to let him in, but his patience won me over. And now, here I am, starting this new chapter with you." I felt a surge of admiration. "Margaret, you're incredible. I can't imagine going through all that and coming out so whole." She chuckled, a soft, humble sound. "Oh dear, we all have our stories. The trick is to keep growing from them. Being here with you and your father feels like a chance to build something new, something good." Her words hit me hard. My earlier worries about her moving in seemed so small compared to what she'd faced. "I'm really glad you're here," I said, meaning every word. She reached over and patted my hand, her touch warm and steady. "Thank you. That means more than you know." That conversation changed something between us. It was like a wall had crumbled, leaving space for something real to grow. Over the next few weeks, we started spending more time together, cooking dinners, laughing over old movies, or strolling through the park. I discovered her love for gardening, how she'd lose herself in the rhythm of planting and pruning. finding peace in the earth. One afternoon, as we knelt in the backyard planting tulip bulbs, she turned to me, her hands dusted with soil. "When I first moved in, I was afraid you might not want me here. I didn't want to step on your toes or make you feel I was trying to replace your mother." Her honesty caught me off guard. "Why would you think that?" "I know how much your mother meant to you," she said gently. "I didn't want you to think I was trying to take her place." I swallowed hard, emotion rising. "Margaret, no one could replace my mom, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for you. You're family now, and I'm grateful for that." Her eyes shimmered with tears as she smiled. "That's the kindest thing you've said to me." In that moment, I felt our bond solidify. What had started as cautious coexistence was turning into something deeper: affection, respect, maybe even love. A few days later, Margaret invited me to her room to show me something special. She opened a small wooden box on her dresser, revealing a collection of faded photographs, letters, and keepsakes. "These are pieces of my past," she said, handing me a photo of a younger Margaret with two small children, their faces bright despite the weariness in her eyes. "This was taken right after my husband left. We were scared, but we held on to each other." "You raised them well," I said, knowing her children were now thriving adults. She nodded proudly. "They're good people. I did my best for them." Then she showed me a letter, its edges worn from years of handling. "This is from my mother," she said. "She wrote it when things were at their worst, telling me I was stronger than I knew." I read the letter, its words filled with love and encouragement, and felt a pang of connection. "This reminds me of my mom," I said. "She always knew how to lift me up." Margaret's face softened. "We're lucky, aren't we, to have had mothers who gave us that kind of strength." That shared moment, holding pieces of her past, brought us closer than ever. Our losses, our loves, our resilience, they wove a thread between us, tying our stories together. As weeks turned into months, our home filled with new rhythm-shared meals, laughter, even the occasional squabble, because what family doesn't have those? But each disagreement taught us how to listen, how to understand, making our bond stronger. Reflecting on those months with Margaret, I see how much we've both changed. Living together started as a necessity, but it's become a choice to build a family, to weave our pasts into something new and beautiful. The real shock isn't just her story. It's how opening my heart to her has shown me what family can truly mean. If you're watching this and navigating your own family change as a new step-parent, a shifting dynamic, know that it's okay to feel uncertain, but keep your heart open. The person you're letting in might bring gifts you never expected, like healing, joy, or a deeper sense of home. As the months rolled on, our home felt different, warmer, fuller, like it had taken on a new heartbeat. Margaret had become more than just my stepmother. She was a friend, a confidant, someone whose presence made every day a little brighter. But there was one moment, one unexpected event, that sealed our bond and showed me just how deeply she'd woven herself into our family. It happened on a quiet Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen, flipping pancakes, the smell of maple syrup filling the air. Margaret was humming softly, setting the table with her usual care. My father was out running errands, so it was just the two of us, enjoying the easy rhythm we'd built. Out of the blue, I heard a thud and a gasp. I turned to see Margaret clutching the edge of the counter, her face pale, her breathing uneven. "Margaret, are you okay?" I rushed to her side, my heart pounding. She waved a hand, trying to smile. "I'm fine, dear. Just a dizzy spell. It happens sometimes." But I wasn't convinced. "Sit down," I said, guiding her to a chair. "Have you had these before?" She hesitated, then nodded. "On and off. It's nothing serious, just my blood pressure acting up. I've got medication, but I must have forgotten it this morning." I felt a surge of worry, but also something else: gratitude that I was there, that we'd grown close enough for her to trust me with this. "Stay put," I said. "I'm getting your medicine." I dashed to her room, found the bottle on her nightstand, and brought it back with a glass of water. As she took the pill, her color started to return, and she gave me a grateful look. "You're a godsend," she said softly. That moment stuck with me. It wasn't just about helping her. It was about realizing how much she mattered to me. I'd gone from worrying about sharing my space to worrying about her health, her happiness. It was a shift I hadn't seen coming, but it felt right. Later that day, as we sat on the porch with cups of chamomile tea, I opened up to her. "Margaret, when you moved in, I was nervous. I didn't know how we'd fit together. But now, I can't imagine this house without you." Her eyes softened, and she reached for my hand. "I was nervous too. I thought I'd always be the outsider. But you've made me feel like I belong." We sat there, the afternoon sun casting long shadows, and I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. Margaret wasn't just my stepmother. She was family in the truest sense, someone who'd walked through her own storms and still chose to share her light with us. As time went on, we created new traditions. We'd spend Sunday evenings baking her famous lemon pound cake, became a household favorite. We'd take turns reading aloud from old novels, laughing at the dramatic twists. And every spring, we'd plant new flowers in the garden, watching them bloom as a symbol of our growing bond. These moments weren't grand, but they were ours, and they filled our home with joy. One evening, as we sat by the fireplace, Margaret shared something that tied everything together. "You know," she said, her voice thoughtful, "when I was at my lowest, I never thought I'd have a family again. But being here, with you and your father, has shown me that life always has surprises. It's never too late to start over, to find people who make you feel at home." Her words hit me like a warm wave. I thought about my own journey losing my mother, navigating this new chapter with Margaret, learning to let someone new into my heart. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. Margaret's story, her strength, her willingness to trust again, had taught me that family isn't just about blood. It's about the connections we choose to nurture. Looking back, I realized the real shock wasn't just learning about Margaret's past or her resilience. It was discovering how much richer life can be when you open your heart to someone new. She came into our home as a stranger, but she became a gift, a reminder that empathy, patience, and small acts of kindness can build bridges you never thought possible. If you're watching this, maybe you're facing your own changes, a new family member, a shift in your home, or just the challenge of connecting with someone different. Let me tell you, it's worth the effort. Those first awkward moments, those little gestures, those quiet conversations, they can lead to something beautiful. Margaret and I started with a plate of chicken pot pie and a nervous smile, and now we're family. You can find that too, no matter your age, no matter your story. I'd love to hear from you. Have you welcomed someone new into your life? Maybe a step-parent, a friend, or a neighbor? What was it like for you? Drop a comment below and share your story. It might inspire someone else. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It helps me keep sharing stories like this one. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Life doesn't stop surprising you, even after 60. Every person who crosses your path carries a story, and if you listen, you might find they bring something you didn't know you needed. Margaret did that for me, and I'm so grateful. Here's to building new connections, to finding family in unexpected places, and to living your best life at any age. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.